No. And the topic this week is critical care and mental health support. Obviously, you can put your details in the chat or circulate the chat to people afterwards for networking purposes. And the first speaker is Tom from Mulberry Centre.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning, everyone. I'll just take a few minutes of your time. I've got some slides, so if this works, which it probably won't, I'll try and share my screen. I did actually I had a couple of versions, and I realized that the first version was way over the limit of what you're allowed to send. So I think we can all be grateful for that, but that wouldn't work. Can everyone see that? I don't know why it does that.
Yep.
Yes.
How do you take the oh, well, it doesn't matter. I can work with that. Right. So yes, my name's Tom Stockton. I'm the community engagement lead at the Mulberry Centre. Here are our details. I'll repeat those at the end. So what is the Mulberry Centre? Well, we're a cancer information support service, and we're based in the grounds of the West Middlesex Hospital. Next slide. We provide practical and emotional support. Well, sorry, I tried to read these out. You can all read. So we provide practical and emotional support to these groups, but we also, thanks to a grant from Hounslow Council, we can provide counselling support to anyone who lives or works in Hounslow or who has recently been treated at the West Middlesex Hospital and has an end-of-life diagnosis or has recently been bereaved for any reason. So that means that whatever is wrong with you, whatever you've got an end-of-life diagnosis for, we can help with some counselling sessions. It is only for the people who come under this criteria, but it is sort of an adjunct to what we normally do because we are basically a cancer charity, but we can offer this to people who are ill for any reason. So these are some pictures of our centre. You saw the front of the centre, you can see that behind me. If you go inside, you'll see this picture's our reception. This one is a picture of our garden in very much sunnier weather than it has been the last few days anyway. And it's really lovely in our garden. For those of you who know the West Middlesex Hospital, it's quite a concrete heavy hospital. So to have a garden in the middle of the West Middlesex is a pretty exceptional thing. And if you could ignore the jumbo jets which come crashing over every so often, it really is a very lovely space. And what we tend to do is people who come in, having had a cancer diagnosis, if you come into the centre, your mind's probably all over the place. You can't really take anything on board. The first thing we'll do is take you into the garden and just let you sit, relax, have a cup of tea, cup of coffee, this sort of thing. And then someone will come out, a specially trained person will come out and just start talking to you and try to ensure that you're getting the information that you can handle at the time you can handle it. So it's not about talking to you endlessly about, all the different treatments you might go through, all the different options you have. It's about saying, or assessing, sorry, look, what do I think this person can handle? And talking about, just that limited range of things. So that would happen in the garden if the weather stays nice. On the bottom left, you've got a couple of our treatment rooms. We offer a range of complementary therapies, which I'll talk about in a moment. And these are done in our treatment rooms. They've recently been tarted up a bit, and you can see there's a very sunny, I think that's our autumn room. I don't know, but I think we have an autumn, spring and summer room. I don't know where the winter room went, but we've only got 3, so that may explain it. But anyway, so that's the inside of our centre. So what sort of things do we do? Well, the 3 here are the counselling we offer. The one-to-one counselling, there are a number of support groups, which I'll talk about in a moment. And then there's the bereavement and end-of-life support. That's the counselling we do, though. The complementary therapies, we do quite a wide range of complementary therapies, all the ones shown here. At the moment, we're sort of transitioning. We just recently opened up 5 days a week, and we're hoping to do a late night fairly soon. We're talking to our trustees about that. But we're open 5 days a week, 10 till 4. And we're limiting, the way we're doing it is by limiting the number of sessions we do. All sessions obviously have to be booked, but we do, I think, 2 counselling sessions a day and 2 complementary therapy sessions a day, which gives us ample time to clean the rooms thoroughly in between. We were doing most of these things online. Most of the things you see listed here, we were doing online during the pandemic, during the lockdowns. But now what we're doing is complementary therapies were extremely hard to do online, obviously. You know, you can't give someone a massage. I say you can't give someone a massage over the telephone. In fact, we were offering remote massages where you basically did the massage yourself. And I actually did one of those classes just to see what it's like. And it was weird. But anyway, but there you go. So we've gone back and we're able to offer pretty much all of these things. But we are across the board, we're doing a more blended setup of things. So for example, counselling lends itself fairly well. If someone wants to be counselled, it's happy to be counselled, you know, face to face on Zoom. So that lends itself quite well to remote. So at the moment, we're kind of doing a bit of both. We're offering a bit of both. I'll talk in a moment about our support groups. There's one of our support groups where we're offering one meeting is going to be in our centre. The next meeting which I think is in 2 weeks' time, is going to be remote, and then we're going to alternate it like that. So I think going forward, that's what it will look like. Complementary therapies in particular need to be done in the centre, but where we can, you know, to cater for those people who may be a bit nervous about coming into the centre, we'll be offering it remotely as well. So next slide, we offer these wellbeing classes. For example, I did actually make a note. I think the mediation and the yin yoga are both online at the moment. And the Tai Chi, it hasn't actually restarted. We are hoping it will restart very soon. The instructor who we have has a couple of issues he needs to sort out, and then he'll be back to doing the Tai Chi over Zoom. We also offer, yes, these support groups. So there are support groups for patients, support groups for carers, and for the bereaved. We've restarted our men's support group, and I've just noticed a spelling mistake. Anyway, so we're restarting our men's support group, and we're keen to see what the interest is for those, and that's for men to come along really with any issues they want to talk about. And the facilitator is someone who's had cancer and survived cancer himself, so he's very well positioned to talk men through any issues they might be having. We're also offering, and I haven't put the full title in here, because hopefully you'll understand when I tell you what it is. It's the Young Person's Breast Cancer Group. Bit of a mouthful, but this is we've been noticing more and more, because some of my colleagues go into the West Middlesex Hospital and actually sit in the clinics to be there for when people get their diagnosis and to start the conversation, which will be ongoing for some time, I think. But we've noticed that people are getting younger, and women are getting younger and younger when they're diagnosed with breast cancer. And that leads to all sorts of issues for people, you know, childcare issues, what to tell the children, all these sorts of things. And so we thought it might be sensible to set up particularly a group aimed at young women, and allow them to talk themselves about the issues that they've been facing and share those with other people. And, you know, I'm sure in a large enough group, there will be someone else who's experienced the same issues and maybe has dealt with those and has some good suggestions of how to do that. So we set up that group. So those are the groups we have running at the moment. So we also offer general ongoing support, we call it, which is all these sorts of things. Social and creative activities. We do walks around the local area. There's informative workshops. They've all got fantastic names. Like we have one running at the moment called Gut Health, which sounds an absolute laugh. But yeah, we have a lot of workshops that are genuinely very informative. Sleep management. There was one on how to deal with stress, which I think was very good. Would have been very good for, I think, all of us. But we have these things, and they come under the list of our general ongoing support. We also have a dedicated welfare benefits advisor, and we're very keen. We did have someone in post, and unfortunately the money ran out for that, and we're very keen to establish whether there is a need. Now, in doing these kind of talks, lots of people say to me, absolutely, if we knew you had a welfare benefits advisor, we'd be sending people over. You know, it's a great service. And I would love, you know, to hear that from people, because I can then feed back and say, no, there really is a need for it. But anyway, so yes, we have our library as well, which I would show you. I think I've got a picture later on, but it's very well stocked. There are almost every leaflet you can think of about cancer, all sitting there, all waiting to be picked up and read by people. So we have that. Then you'll see this is the community engagement we do. This is basically my area. You may recognize that person there in a mask looking very dubious. But anyway, we do road shows, health awareness talks, talks like this, all sorts of things. Now, this is the important slide for me. All of the services we offer are free, and that's genuinely free. There are no postcode boundaries, and it really doesn't matter where you're being treated. So a lot of the people who come to our centre are obviously being treated at West Middlesex, but a number of them are being treated at Kingston, even Northwick Park and Hillingdon Hospital. We have people from a far field of central London, you know, and some of our clients, some of our service users, they attend more than one of these sorts of places. We're not upset about that. Sorry about that. We're happy wherever you come from. We have someone who lives in central London, and she goes to Maggie's in Charing Cross. She's treated in Charing Cross. She goes to Maggie's, but she likes coming to the Mulberry Centre. So anywhere you come from, we're happy to see you. So, and how do we do all of this? Well, basically, it's with the help of volunteers. Sorry, someone just called my phone and got the answer phone. So it's the help of volunteers. I think we have about 130 volunteers. That's therapists, volunteers who are helping out with the community engagement that I do, a range of tasks, but we're very grateful to what they do. And the next slide is, yes. So we were complementary therapy, our complementary therapy team, sorry, they won the Macmillan Service Team of the Year 2020. And we actually also won the Queen's Award, which it was confirmed probably about a month ago, Ian, is that right? I should know this better than you, to be honest.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, so thank you. We were confirmed that we won the Queen's Award for voluntary services this year. And that it's, I think most people will be familiar with the Queen's Award, but actually this is a special one where it will say, there will be something about COVID written on the award. So that's a very nice thing to have. So how do we do this? Well, we have to get the money from somewhere. So we do it from fundraising, grants, collection tins, and everything in between, really. Grants from Hounslow Council, they're very generous. I would say that, but it's true. We get money from the big lottery, all the usual sort of places. I'm sure you know all of them. And then, you know, our fundraisers go out, shake a tin under people's noses and all sorts of things. Anyway, people are very generous. So that's a quick whiz through. And does anyone have any questions?
No.
Yeah, with silence, no. Okay. Excellent. Well, that's me done then. Thank you very much.
I'd just like to say such a brilliant presentation and such a truly deserving award.
Thank you.
Totally impressed by the work that you do, and thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can I just add, Tom, that there's never enough advisors around. People's circumstances change so quickly and under the current conditions. So if that helps.
It does, it certainly does. The frustrating thing is, and the reason why I sort of mentioned it particularly, is that we had a really, really good guy in place. And I think that was from funding from Hounslow Council. He was brilliant, and he did seminars and he saw people one-to-one, spoke to people one-to-one, I should say, all this sort of thing. And then, you know, the money ran out and we had to let him go, and he moved away, and he's back in the West Country, I think, which is where he's originally from. But so, you know, we won't be getting him back basically, but we're really keen. Now he's no longer there, we really see a need. And so anything I can hear from anyone, you know, be delighted to hear.
Well,
thanks so much.
Can I just say something, Tom? I'm Juliana, and my colleague Corinne, we work and we are money and benefit advisors. So we know the importance of the need when somebody's going through something as difficult as cancer, the advice that they need. Somebody's taken on that burden because people don't know their rights to benefits and certain things they can and cannot do. So that having that as a focal point about this fantastic support that you guys deliver, I think is something that's definitely key and essential, and is something that needs to be, you know, looked into, trying to kind of reinstate that as part of that, because that is so important, where people have to think, where's the money coming from to pay their rent, the council tax, support to do personal independence payments. It's just general worry, universal credit and things like that. So it would be really, really good if something like that can be added back to your services.
Absolutely. Now, well, I think it will happen, but all of this is very helpful. We're looking for the money at the moment. Juliana, can I ask where you're from?
I work for Catalyst Housing Association.
Okay, perfect. All right, I will pass those comments on, and thank you both of you for those comments.
Thank you.
A small note, if everyone could put in their name and contact details in the chat, that would help networking later. Sorry, go ahead.
Hi, Tom. It's Shanji here.
Hi, Shanji.
Just want to let you know, I mean, a few years back, I had a death in the family, and that was death with the cancer. A lot of my family members died with the cancer, one by one. I was experiencing another death in the family, very young, under 30 deaths in the family. So I called your center, and they said, because the death didn't happen in this country, we can't export you with the counseling. And if I don't tell you, you won't know what's happening. I mean, it's regardless where the death happened. The person, if the person is suffering here, they should be able to get support for their loved ones. I mean, there shouldn't be a question where the death happened, you know, if it's happened abroad or here. As long as somebody died with the cancer, the person who's here should get supported. I mean, I thought it's important to tell you this has happened within your department. I mean, we also run our services. It's regardless where the person died, but when their loved ones are suffering, they should be able to get accommodate. And this has happened with your department.
I agree. Sorry, when did you say that happened, Shanti? Did you say 3 years ago?
A few years back, yeah.
Okay. Well, I will take the politicians' way out, which is to say that things have changed since then, and they have. The team is almost entirely new, and I think you would get a very different answer was that unfortunate happened now. But I agree. I think it shouldn't matter where. You are no less affected if someone dies in this country or if someone died somewhere else. And I think, you know, that shouldn't prevent you from accessing.
I even told them, I said, I'm a bereavement counselor myself. I've been helping so many people. But when we need a help, we don't get it. How we can lead the life and help the future people who we are dealing with, like yourself. We are also dealing with so many people. So as us frontline staff, we should be able to get more support and looked after who are serving the community.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And as I say, I will check, but I'm pretty sure the answer would be different. So I apologize.
We had a young girl under 29 when she died. And just after that was my daughter's wedding. So we had a death and wedding together, which I felt was really difficult to cope with and deal with. But I'm so sorry to say, I didn't get any help at all from your department.
No, I'm sorry to hear that. I apologize on behalf of the Mulberry Centre, but as I say, I think it would be different.
Well,
can I ask a question?
The services with a better.
Sorry.
So, yes, Juliana.
Quick question. How do we make a referral to your organisation?
Right. The referrals, we do actually have a referral form, which I must say I drafted. So, but we don't need anyone to fill out the referral form.
Okay.
Basically, the person can just call up or someone can call up on their behalf. We'll take a few details and then someone will call them back or speak to them straight away. So it's a pretty easy referral.
Right. Okay. And you're going to put your details up. Did I miss that?
Yeah, my email address is there. By all means, contact me, or I will. I can put our telephone number or our website address, or we do actually have a dedicated address. Yeah, I'll put all of those up as well. Actually.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any more questions for Tom? I'll circulate Tom's slides to everybody afterwards, and they can get in touch with Tom if they've got further questions. And our next presenter is Rama.
Sorry, bear with me 1 second. I've also got my little one at home today, so you might hear noise in the background, and I apologize in advance. No. Can everybody see my screen? Okay, brilliant. The first time I've actually done a Zoom presentation, so I'm quite chuffed that worked. I wanted to give you a bit of a background about some work that Ealing Community Network is doing. And I wasn't sure whether, I know Ian is, but not whether everybody's had any interaction or any familiarity with the Community Empowerment Network in Ealing. So it was established back in 2001, and it's a membership-led organization, and it has, I think, about 50 organizations as members at the moment. And it's a host organization, so it doesn't have a home. It's democratically elected beyond the organizations that are members as to who hosts it. In previous years, it's been Ealing CBS, and then it went to Greenford North and Perivale Community Forum, and now it sits under Southall Community Alliance. And its key role really is to ensure that all the groups in the borough, irrespective of their size, have an equal voice and have an access to, I think it's about access to, sorry, I'm losing my chain of thought here. So it's about having direct contact with decision makers, and grassroots organizations have an avenue to be able to be heard. And the Community Empowerment Network's role is to facilitate that conversation. And so one of the things that they do is gather community organizations' perspectives on what issues there are and what strategies and decision, and then feeding that back to decision makers to be able to have a say in what policies are coming forward and how that impacts small organizations and the wider community. One of the things that it does to do that is it has partnership networks. So member organizations have the capacity or are able to put forward individuals from their organizations to sit in either the local strategic partnership, the integrated care partnership, or local authority scrutiny panels. And under the local strategic partnership, one of the things that happens is that partnership brings together the voluntary sector, the private sector, and the local authority. And small organizations who are voted in or are there to represent effectively get a seat at the table. So they get to sit with the commissioning bodies, they get to sit with the local authorities, and they are not there to represent themselves as in small organizations, but they are there to voice the concerns of the wider sector. So that's fed back into policy and decision. There are several priorities that have come up over the last year, and the three key areas that the Empowerment Network is focusing on this year is digital inclusion. So access to, and the reason, just to give you a bit of background, I think during the lockdown, some of the things that came up was in terms of education and digital exclusion, the gap between those who have and have not, and how that impacted on the schooling. So one of the areas that they're going to be looking at going forward is access to physical equipment, access to software, and training in terms of the sector, in terms of looking at what training capacity and need there are, and what the needs of the grassroots organizations are. Community wealth, which is looking at fair employment, socially productive use of land assets, looking at council properties in terms of when it goes up to tender, whether community organizations have a right to it over it being put out to tender over to private organizations and how we retain that within the sector. Progressive procurement again, and anchoring institutions like support from third sector organizations. And the area that I want to talk about today is their third priority, which is inequalities, which is addressing the disproportionate funding issues that's faced by BMA-led groups and the disproportionate impact of COVID-19 on the community, BMA-led community groups. What we found is the community that's been hit the hardest in terms of education, in terms of funding, in terms of health, has also been the community that suffered the most in terms of access to funding. So Ealing Community Network is working with Ealing Racial Equality Commission to do a piece of research looking around and focusing on funding inequalities, specifically looking at BMA and BMER-led grassroots organizations. And by grassroots organizations and small organizations, we've classified those as organizations that have an income of less than £50,000 a year. And what we would like to do, or what the Ealing Community Network has done, is they've brought in an independent consultant to do a couple of sessions with grassroots organizations to try and get a better understanding of what their experiences have been. And this is to support the local authority to to find out what difficulties there's been and what barriers there've been, and how we can support the local authority implement or put a better process in place. So what we want to look at is, if you are a grassroots organization, if you are BME-led, if you support BME-led organizations, what the challenges they face are in terms of getting funding, in terms of being commissioned, what recommendations that they'd like to put into place, and also what they consider to be what a good change looks like, as in what they would like to be the better outcome. I know language is one of the issues that we've come across. I know that resource is one of the, not small organizations don't have capacity, and time is precious. And when you're the administrator and you're the director and then you're the fundraiser, a lot falls on your shoulders. And we know that day to day, the work that they do is vital, because they're picking up gaps and they're dealing with those who've fallen through the net. And what we want to be able to do is strengthen that. And I don't know if you're familiar with it. Ealing has what we call a compact, which is a framework as to how the voluntary sector and the local authority work together. And that compact and that agreement is coming to an end. And we want to use this piece of research to be able to strengthen our negotiation with them in terms of how we support those whose needs are not met and who have the highest need in the borough. So we're looking for practical examples of what the council did or didn't do in terms of supporting small organizations go through their funding process and go through their commissioning. And we're going to be doing that by holding 2 workshops. One of it will be face-to-face on the 20th of July, and the other one is going to be on the 14th of this month, which is next Wednesday, and it's going to be a video call. So what I really would like from the groups that are here is, if you know any BMA-led organizations, you support them, you work with them, or even yourselves, if you've had any challenges or difficulties or that you faced in terms of commissioning, whether you'd be willing to feed back into or take part in this discussion and be involved in this process, and whether you could attend, disseminate the information. I'm just kind of churning through it, I think, so you're going to have to just pull me up on things as I go along. But really what it is we know inequalities. I just think when we say BME community, it's a community that's been, I think, overlooked, and we know have multitude of barriers that they're facing in terms of being on an equal playing field. And I know we've been, when we talk to small groups, that they've been consulted to death And I know sometimes it can feel like it's just a tick process and, you know, your opinion is just got a nothing, it amounts to nothing. And we want to make sure that what we have is something tangible, and it's something that we can hold the local authority to account. And it's something that can be used going forward to support other organizations as well. So really, as much support and as much guidance from organizations that are here in terms of who we can liaise with, who we can involve, and who we can have that sit down and conversation with, really. I've zoomed through it, so if, yeah. Is that okay?
Thank you.
And I've noticed from Tom's slide, he actually had the foresight to put his details on the last slide. So I didn't even do that.
You did very well.
How do I stop sharing?
We can always share your details when we send
Yes,
out the
please.
slides at the end of the session. So
How do I, am I still sharing my screen, or?
Yes, you are.
How do I
At the
unshare?
top, it says, it should say at the top, it says something
Oh,
in
stop.
green, and it
Thank
should
you
say
so
stop
much.
sharing.
There we go. Yeah.
Perfect. Rama,
Yeah.
Sarfraz Kurdin, who works at Hounslow, I think he's a principal equalities officer. He was very helpful to me. Ian, I think, put me in touch with him, and then I got in touch with him, and I just explained, because at the Mulberry Centre we'd like to, historically we haven't been very good at connecting with you know, the I know it's not a popular phrase, the BAME community. You know, we're not good at contacting ethnically diverse communities, which, given that we're right in the West Middlesex Hospital, is pretty bad, really. So he put me in touch, and he sent me an email that had lots of local groups who I could contact. So he would be very good to speak to. And if you just want a list of groups, I'm happy to email that over to you.
Please, if that would be really good, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Is there anyone else who has some questions for Rama? Or suggestions, or would like to contribute?
Can I just ask a question, Rama? So this, the event that you've put up, what are the times on it?
It's a 2-hour session. So both sessions will start at 10 o'clock and finish at 12 o'clock. So we've got Kita, who's an independent consultant, coming in to deliver the workshops. And the first one on the 14th will be on Zoom, and the other one is on the 20th, and it's the following week. But we're hoping to do that as a face-to-face session for those who have who can't access online and be able and would prefer to come. But we haven't established a venue for that one yet, because we haven't really. Our initial thought was, because we have a priority in terms of digital exclusion, we want people to be able to come and have a physical space. But I think people find Zoom more convenient.
Yeah.
So we're just trying to work through that process. Yeah. So I know you're with Catalyst. So if you have any residents associations or small organizations who you come across who might be interested, that would be good.
All right. Thank you.
Any more questions? I think we can leave the forum open now for general discussions. If there's something else you want to discuss today. The last session we had some kind of, we were looking for feedback from you. And if you may, I'd like to put in a few, I'd like to send out a small survey to you on the cash network, not the feedback that you give us on this session and you know how it went today, but something about how or if the cash network has helped you through the last 24 weeks that we've been together. We have a couple more sessions to go at cash, and we'll be taking a break. If you'd like it to continue, we'd need feedback on that. So I'll be sending that along. Ian will be sending that along with the other notes of today. And the network is open to anyone, so feel free to unmute yourselves and
Can I ask a couple of just general questions anyway? I mean, how has everybody felt that the people they support have managed through the COVID, obviously the period of COVID and lockdown? And has you had any feedback on how people feel about everything opening back and returning to some element of normality? Has anybody had any feedback on the people they support?
I want to say something. Hello.
Yeah,
Hi.
Yes, I'm Margaret. Yesterday, I had a talk on the updates of COVID in our session in Greenfield. And most of the people are still afraid that opening up maybe is going to expose them to infection because they are thinking of the Delta variant. They said, although they are opening up and saying they are still going to wear their masks, they are still going to use their sanitizers, they are still going to take their precautions. And the questions they were asking me, because we have restricted the number. At first, we used to have more than 30 people coming for a session. So we have restricted the number to 15. And their worried was, are we going to increase the number that are coming up, that are coming to the session? And we realize that there's still a lot of fear. There's still fear out there. There's still uncertainty. And these are people who have had all their vaccines. So what I realized is that there's still fear of, they think that they are opening up too soon. That's what they were saying.
Thank you. Did they, sorry, Margaret, did they manage to tap into all the services though while during lockdown? Did they manage to tap into services that they needed to support them?
Not all of them, because although there was lockdown, we're still able to guide them, calling to check how they were doing or visiting them. It was not possible for some of them to leave their homes.
Yeah.
And services that we can offer, we're able to offer, but still, not really. They were not able to get all the services. Oh, my telephone is ringing here. Okay.
Can I just say we found that those who've been shielding the longest are those who are more apprehensive in terms of coming out.
Yeah.
And the ones that we've had the biggest concern about is our elderly group.
Yeah.
Who we felt have been, whilst with other sessions we were able to do even WhatsApp groups or Zoom sessions, they weren't able to get on to do the Zoom sessions. And even now, I think they're really, really apprehensive about things unrolling and coming out and re-engaging and getting involved in activities. And what Margaret said, I think it's, there's the lack of trust about, it just feels like the gates are opening up and people are not ready quite to come out all in one go, I think. And we've had lots of conversations with people who have underlying health issues. Yeah. And the mask mandate is a really concern for them as well, people not wearing masks.
I think, thank you for that. I think the other thing as well is obviously listening to the news, and they're talking about obviously reinstating the universal credit back to the reduced amount. And as a money and benefit advisor, my concern is obviously the impact on how it's going to affect people, because I suppose they got used to that extra money, and now they've got to prepare themselves in a way that that money is going to be kind of taken back. So that's one thing that I think we need to kind of have in the back of my mind when this happens, how we're going to have to support people through this transition of it as well.
Sorry, just to add to that, we had a client who said, you know, that amounts to £80 a month. That's their council tax money. So how,
Wow.
do you know what I mean? So it doesn't seem like it when you think about it as £20 a week, but when you think that paid for something and it was something tangible, it's going to have a massive impact on people.
I mean, I think I would echo that. Our clientele are generally older, from the older generation, and you know, a lot of them have been diagnosed with cancer, so some of them are particularly vulnerable. And we've opened up, and I have to say, I probably shouldn't say this, I slightly disagree with how quickly the Mulberry Centres opened up. I think, you know, a lot of them are still very cautious. Funny enough, aside from doing a group like this, I also I head a user engagement group where we ask our users, you know, what they think about various things. And I have a meeting coming up in August. And one of the questions I will ask them is, how do you feel about the centre reopening? Because a lot of them are very nervous. To be honest, a lot of them are happy to come back in, and a lot of them have found the support we can offer them vital. And, you know, we're keen to come back and start one-to-one groups as soon as possible. But, you know, I wonder if those people are going to still be as keen when you can practically go and do it. Because I think it's one thing to say, yeah, I'm very keen to come back to the centre. It's another thing to actually then go and sit on a bus for 45 minutes or whatever it might be, and actually interact with people who may or may not be wearing masks quite properly. You know, they'd be well within their rights not to wear masks. But yeah, our particularly vulnerable clients, I do kind of worry for them. But, you know, our trustees are very aware of those sorts of things, so they are giving them all due consideration.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think the restrictions have opened up with not even the basics of, you know, mask and social, you know, a bit of social distancing has kind of got quite a few worried, and that's something that I think, irrespective of the age, that there has been a fear, because we've been in lockdown for some time and the rates are not gone down. They're coming. The numbers are increasing. So totally agree with the sentiments of quite a few. Especially when you have underlying ailments, which may not be visible to the others, but when you're walking in, like I have asthma. When I'm walking into a public transport or getting into a supermarket, I am wary about people not having masks on, or even having the mask below the mouth, in spite of me having a mask on. But yeah, it is uncomfortable.
Can I just say that, yeah, for my group, we've got 65 people, and every single one of those, bar one, can't wait to go out. So, and when you consider that we've all been shielding, I think it's absolutely amazing. I'm absolutely amazed at it. So, you know, I think different groups, different outlooks,
Yeah,
really. You know, I don't think we can legislate for anything. You know, the wearing of masks, most of our members have never worn a mask anyway, because they've been advised not to.
Yeah.
Because it causes them health problems. So it's very, very, very much up to the individual what they want to do.
Yeah.
Roger, what are the ages of your group?
The average age is 75.
Wow, that's amazing.
And there are some people who are still afraid of getting vaccines. The rumors around us, they have, I mean, they're just afraid that they are going to die or they will have severe side effects, especially those who have underlying health issues. So
I've read those too. They're quite scary to read.
Yes.
Even though you have the better sense of, you know, it's not true, but those messages that are going around are very, very scary. And some seem to be coming in from the vaccinators themselves, which is, again, could be a hoax, and it's just
yeah,
scary.
we are trying to give them an awareness that this is something to save you, like we go for the vaccination for the newborn children, you know. So this is another thing which is coming up with the ease of the lockdown. Now we are going out, but we don't want any vaccine. This is very strange. Yeah.
Can I also say, this is my first time in the meeting, so my name's Yvonne Jones. I'm new to my organisation, Mind, Hammersmith, Fulham and Healing and Hounslow. But just to also say, I think there's another one of my colleagues on the line here, that we have a crisis service that opens up after hours. So alongside everything else I'm hearing, if somebody is in crisis and they want to speak to somebody, and or we have our services that they can actually visit, then it's a good place to also be able to go to. So I don't know who I would need to send the information to with regards to Hammersmith, Fulham Healing and Hounslow Mind around the safe space. It's called out of hours service, but I think it would be beneficial as well for all that's on the video now, just to know that we are about as well.
If you send us some information, we can include it in our website and in our Ealing and Hounslow newses and then circulate it to attendees as well.
Perfect. Okay. Who am I sending it to? Sorry.
Send it to myself or Nyoka.
You would have my email address on your Zoom link. I mean, at the bottom of your email, which you receive for the Zoom link.
Okay.
If not, I'd be putting in Ian's and my email address in the chat box right now.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. You know, we totally missed asking if there's anyone else, you know, who's joined us new today, and you'd like to, you know, maybe introduce yourself and what you do and what your project does, and we'd like to hear more from you. Thank you, Yuan, for bringing this to us. And we were so wrapped up with talking about, you know, we so connected with the groups here, so missed out on that. Thank you.
No problem.
Anyone who's not attended our session before and who's joined us today, Claire, Alan, and Juliana, I think you've come in today.
Yeah, so I'm Claire. I'm one of the support workers in Safe Space that Yvonne was talking about. So yeah, we're an out of hours crisis service. Open 7 days a week from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. So yeah, I know Yvonne will pass on our details to you all.
Yvonne. I'm Juliana Kennedy. I work for Catalyst Housing Association, and we've actually, prior to the lockdown, was also delivering Advice Plus in the centre, in the Lido Centre, alongside A2 Dominion. And it's really just, we basically support residents who basically a way of sustaining their tenancy. So people are going through financial difficulties, and we support them to apply for the necessary benefits and things like that. So we work in-house with residents. And then we have the other side where we do a lot of community engagement activities with residents as well.
Just to say, Juliana, that the Safe Space is actually also based in the Lido Centre.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Yvonne.
On the evening. So yeah, so if you talk to
excellent.
Sasha, he'll be able to fill you in a bit as well.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, great. I know. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Alan. I'm setting up a non-profit community supermarket, and I joined the session today because I wanted to understand how to best engage with the community and how to best help other associations or work in tandem with other associations. So listening to the meeting today was quite interesting in the way that sometimes just helping, just a little gesture like bringing shopping or visiting someone or getting in touch with someone who needs support or to talk would be quite interesting. So I wanted to understand how to interact with other association, non-profit. So that was quite good. Thank you.
you. Thank you, Alan.
Hi, Alan. Where are you based?
I'm in Wandsworth right now, but I'm planning to extend in the Greater London, support all charities and non-profits in Greater London at some point.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. What's the name of your organisation?
It's the communitysupermarket.com. It'll be a non-profit. I'm just about to launch in the next couple of weeks.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Yes, so Alan, if you send us some text and then links, we can include in our e-news and website, and that will help circulate the information to groups.
I will do that. Thank you. I would love to do that.
And good luck, I think, is the only other thing I'd say. Can I just say, sorry, Nyanka, I'm ruining the good impression I gave that Rama mentioned, because I forgot probably the most important thing I was meant to say. I know this is a mental health discussion, and I just want to say that we have set up a befriending service for people aged 65 and over at the moment. And that's open really to anyone. It's for anyone who's been affected by COVID. So in practice, that's anyone. And so anyone aged 65 or over can call up, register for the service, and then a volunteer, specially trained volunteer, will call them back. Generally, it's once a week, just for a chat. It was set up to sort of combat the social isolation and loneliness that people were experiencing during the worst parts of COVID, and as it started to drag on. But so just to tell you, that's still up and running, and people are welcome to contact us about that. But anyway, sorry to take more of everyone's time.
I just wanted to put in that put in Ian's and my email ID in the chat. So for those who've joined us, today, and for those who have been joining us every week, if you have any new projects coming up that you want us to share with the borough, we have our weekly newsletters that go out, and we also update the event on or the information on our website. So happy to promote your efforts and hard work there. Also put in the link for the feedback for today's session. Don't forget to click on that link for us. Thank you.
Yeah, anybody else got any more comments? Otherwise, yeah, thanks for attending. And I'll circulate the slides to people afterwards.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Ian. Thank you, Nyanka.
Thanks.
Have a good day,
Thanks,
everyone.
everyone. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye.
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 Thank you.